took it there in terms of asking him what he felt was his greatest accomplishment for the Black community, right?
Right. Right. And that's something like even in his answer, I kind of wanted him to go deeper because like I could have listed more things than he did, right? With, in this space where we're talking about student loan debt and, wage inequality. And I often point out in the list of things that he's done is he sued every major banking company in America. He sued the car financing industry because they were discriminating against Black borrowers and charging Black people higher interest rates. And that's just one of the many things that he's done. And I just wanted him to kind of, pat himself on the back. But he basically said, like, I help all Americans and I did some stuff that will help Black people. But, I was just happy to have him answer that question because it seems as if, you hear that a lot. Like, what did he do for us? And there are some measurable things that he did for us as president that people don't generally talk about or know about.
You also asked him, Michael, how being an African American prepared him for being president, correct?
Right. I think, he brought up a list of names and people that he admired, from John Lewis to Fannie Lou Hamer. And, I think just being a Black person in America, it provided him, and he said this, like basically the resolve to kind of endure the scrutiny that a president goes through.
Yeah. And that's real. No, that's great, man. Congratulations on it. Have you had a chance to read the book yet?
I am starting on it. I started on it last night, but I hadn't gotten too far into it yet.
I was having a conversation with someone earlier, and I wonder how you feel about this. Barack Obama staked his claim as trying to be emulative of Abraham Lincoln. So he got the House, the Senate, and the White House, and still was polite, kind of threw Republicans a lifeline. Some people said Democrats at that time, as Democrats often are, were too magnanimous toward Republicans. In light of the Biden and Harris election, once they take office, and I guess I haven't checked the news lately, I guess they still going to take office. I know they're trying to stop them, but it changes every minute. Do you think the Obama approach to dealing with Republicans is going to work this time? I know Biden's been talking a lot of kumbaya, but do we just need to vanquish these jokers and this party and their whole lot? What do you think, Michael?
I think we do. I don't think Barack Obama could have done it, right? Like, so you can't have that kind of mentality as a Black person and become president, right? You can't be combative. You have to be not necessarily respectable. It's not respectability politics. It is the reality of living in, like, so like when you get stopped by a police officer, right? Like, you can't do the same thing that a white boy does, even if you have the same right. And the same is true in politics. Barack Obama can't do what Joe Biden did or is going to do, or has the potential to do, simply because he is a Black man. And, even as moderate as Barack Obama was, we saw what that Black backlash has brought us in President Trump. So imagine if he would have, gone whole hog and all in, imagine what we would have gotten. I don't know what else we could have gotten besides Trump, but, we know that Barack Obama couldn't do some of the things that a Joe Biden could have done or could do.
That's true. And it's funny you mention that, because if he had gone in Malcolm X, if Trump is the white lash to Obama, what would the white lash have been if Obama had come in on Malcolm X kind of energy? I don't know. It's amazing. But I think you're right. And one of the ways I think about it, Michael, it's the Jackie Robinson thing. The very first have to be Jackie and turn the other cheek all the time because you're the first and you don't want to look like, so whether it's the first African American or the first woman, the first Latino, it's kind of, But usually the second time around, you know, you can do a little bit more.
Yeah, we get to do what we want the second time around, but somebody's got to get inside the room or open that door for the next person.
Yeah, no question about it. You have also written recently about the Quawan Charles case, a tragic case. The images too graphic and frankly as disturbing, maybe not as severe, but as disturbing as Emmett Till. It invokes the image of Emmett Till when you see it. Have we learned anything more about that case in recent days?
So I talked to the attorneys yesterday for the family, and so they told me a couple of things, right? So apparently, this white woman who was last seen with Quawan Charles, she's apparently left town. Their investigators confirmed that. The neighbors saw, she had pictures with me of her packing up a U-Haul and gassing up, leaving town. So I don't know where law enforcement is with that information, but there are reliable reports that the woman who the family suspects may have at least known what happened between the last time they saw him and when he was found dead. She's the only human being that the officers and the investigators know he was with, right? So she's left town. The family has demanded a meeting with the Iberia Parish Sheriff's Department. They haven't had a response from the Sheriff's Department. And we also know that the family has lobbied the legislature to find out, to lower the standard of what's necessary to issue what they call an Amber Alert, right? To let the public know that a child is missing, because one of the strange things about this case is that the police knew he was missing for days before and never told the public or the news people about it, and never issued an Amber Alert. And so they're trying to lower that threshold and trying to get them to rename it to a Quawan Alert. So those are two things, because as they told me, that they can't bring him back, but at least they can affect change going forward.
What was the threshold for the Amber Alert that prevented anything from happening the way it should have in the first place?
Whatever the police decide. I mean, that's literally it. The police get to decide when they alert the public or the media about a missing child. And when this woman told the police the day her child was, hours after her child went missing, that he was missing from a locked room that was locked from the inside, they said he's probably gone to a football game. So they get to decide. And as you know, numerous people told me who I interviewed that if it was a white girl, they would have turned the state of Louisiana upside down.
Yeah. Folks, y'all can Google missing white woman syndrome, MWWS, and it's a thing. It is a real thing. It has its own Wikipedia page. So Michael is right about that. So do I have this right? He got in the car with someone. Is that the white woman in question, or what?
Yeah. So the white woman has a 17-year-old son that Quawan knew. The parents have never met this kid, but Quawan, who was reportedly a quiet child, all his friends and his family said he was pretty much quiet, had just moved from the town he was raised in to go live with his father. Uh-huh. And the last person who saw him was the only other child that he knew, a black kid in the town. And when the parents said, "Have you seen Quawan?" he was like, "Well, the last time I saw her, she was with this 17-year-old kid and his mother." And one of the other things that we found out yesterday is that the Baldwin Police Department, Baldwin, Louisiana Police Department, reportedly has video of Quawan in the car with this woman. So, So yeah, we don't know if he got in the car or he was taken. No one really knows.
yeah, yeah. And it's still a mystery. Trying to get to the bottom of it. Michael, when Trayvon was killed, and we all went down to Sanford, I asked the question, whether or not it made any difference to elect a black president if we can't protect the lives of our own children. And as I look, the first black president has his new book coming out, and we celebrate that. And yet we're still dealing with trying to make our lives matter, trying to defend our children, trying to keep them from being killed, whether by police or whomever. Do you think that is a somewhat bipolar position for us to be in as black people, to celebrate Barack Obama, and for that matter, the first black woman in the White House now with Kamala, and yet we're still having Emmett Till-like situations in America?
So I think they're two separate things. I think the election of a black president was a symbolic step forward. It doesn't mean that America was less racist than it was on November 7th, 2008. So yeah, I think Barack Obama election was important. It has symbolic importance to black people. I was watching James Baldwin last night, and I remember when he said that, when Bobby Kennedy was elected as Attorney General, and someone said, in 40 years, we may even see an African-American elected president. And white people thought that was an incredible thing to say. And as James Baldwin said, if you would have gone to Harlem, black people were laughing at it, not because it was improbable, but because we know that black people always have been smart enough and talented enough to do it. Bobby Kennedy, like James Baldwin said, just got here yesterday. We've been here for 400 years. And so, I think the specific strain of American racism will sometimes have a hole through which a black person can escape and make it to the heights that Barack Obama made it. But it doesn't mean that the lid isn't still on the ladder to success or the heights to which a black person can reach in America. Those are two separate things. And it doesn't, I always say, Barack Obama was a Harvard Law graduate. He went to Columbia. He was the smartest person at his high school. So it's not necessarily an incredible thing to me to see someone who is smart and talented and charismatic become the president of the United States, right? But what followed him, which shows you the dichotomy of racism in America, is that it's just a regular old mediocre white man with no experience, not particularly smart, followed the smartest president of our lifetimes,
Yeah, definitely mediocre. I mean, he's white trash.
Right. Mediocre is giving him credit for a lot, but
and normally we think of white trash as poor, but I mean, we don't even. I mean, we know he ain't got no money. As far as I'm concerned, you have $1 billion in debt. You broke too, but he's just upper class. And you're right. And I think that's part of the resentment. A black, intelligent, articulate family, and that makes people in Trump world angry because we're not supposed to be that articulate and that intelligent and that successful. And he and his family clearly are not.